My name is Daniel A. Vought. I'm from Fort Wayne, Indiana. I enlisted in the Navy after graduating from college at Purdue and went through boot camp. In the course of boot camp, I did apply for Officer Candidate School. OCS, got accepted. So after I got my commission from OCS, I was assigned to the USS ORLECK as the main propulsion assistant, which is kind of like the assistant engineering officer. I went to a 3-month school first and then reported to the ORLECK in April of 1972 and served on ORLECK until October of 1974. During that time we made one Western Pacific deployment, which was also during the Vietnam War. Our main duties over there were plane guarding for the carriers. We spent a lot of time chasing carriers around. We'd follow carriers around about 1,000 yards astern, and we were supposed to be a quick reaction force. If a plane went in the drink, we'd try to rescue the pilot, and also act as an escort for the carrier. Our other major duties included a lot of naval gunfire support up and down the coast of North Vietnam. Did a lot of operations in and out of Yankee Station, which was north in the Gulf of Tonkin. We'd go out there to resupply, refuel, come back and do some more gunfire support. My duties mainly involved helping keep the engineering plant going. I had division officer as M and B divisions, had about 55 enlisted people under my direction. And as a 22-year-old, 23-year-old kid out of college, it was a great learning experience and a great motivational experience working with a bunch of great people. And I learned a lot that helped me through the rest of my civilian career and the rest of my life. It was, as far as the historical perspective concerned, it was interesting because there were two major eras that kind of took place during my time on ORLECK. One was the end of the Vietnam War, and it was interesting because ORLECK was on the gunfire line when the ceasefire was, accords were signed in Paris, and the ceasefire went into effect at the end of January of '73. And we had orders, I forget exactly which date it was towards the end of January '73. And we had orders to cease firing the following morning. But we fired naval gunfire support missions up until midnight of the day before the ceasefire. And that was it. After that, we secured batteries, and we went off and left the gun line and went to Singapore. So it was kind of an epic moment because that era in United States history changed at that point. The other interesting thing was I was involved in the history of the ORLECK. It was when we got back to San Diego. Shortly after we were assigned to the reserve fleet and transferred up to Tacoma, Washington as a reserve training ship. We lost some of our crew. The concept was we would be stationed in Tacoma, and the reservists would come on board on their reserve weekends and replace some of the people we were left without to fill out the crew, and then we'd get underway and do training missions. And we would spend a lot of time in Puget Sound. We'd go out to sea. A couple of times we went over to Hawaii and back, up and down the coast from Tacoma to San Diego and back. So we did have some extensive trips. But overall, it was a good experience for me. I did leave the active service in October of '74, but I did stay in the reserves and came back to Indiana. And then I finally retired as lieutenant commander in the Naval Reserve in in November of 1992. So joining the Navy and getting stationed on the ORLECK was very fortuitous on my part. And I worked with a lot of great people, served under some great senior officers, and worked with a lot of good, hard-working men. And it really gave me some good work ethic and professional goals to help me through the rest of my working career.